Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class we will learn Tosfos Dibur HaMaschal Yediyas HaTumah. Let's begin. Yediyas HaTumah asks Tosfos, V'im Tamer, and if you ask, V'amaylik Atoni ha'alomes shtayim shein daled. Why doesn't the Mishnah say ha'alomes shtayim shein daled? When it comes to these cases, let's take the first case. The person was tamei, was aware that he was tamei. Then he forgot that he was tamei, and in the time that he forgot that he was tamei, he ate an item, he ate a food that was hektish, and then he became aware again that he was tamei, and therefore he needs to bring a carbon. Now we could either count the states of awareness, the awareness at the beginning and there was an awareness at the end, or we could talk about the periods when he didn't have awareness. Yediyas are the times that he had awareness, and alamas is the time in between when he forgot, when he was lacking awareness. Tosfos asks, why didn't the Mishnah say halomes atuma shtayim shein arba helem tuma v'achol kodesh einichnas l'mikdash? The two of them are he forgot that he was tamei, and at that time either he ate a food that was hektish or entered the makom mikdash. Shein dalad. The other two are helem kodesh v'helem mikdash, when he was tamei and then forgot that the food he was eating was hektish, or the place that he was going into was the mikdash. Why is this a better choice to say halames over yediyas? Says Tosfos, v'ava'asis shaper, then it would go a lot better. The leimatzi lemifrach hani tam nehavyon. Then the Gemara would not be able to ask, but there are 8 k'deparich hayediyas, like he asks on yediyas. The Gemara in Shavuos asks, how can we say yediyas atuma shtayim shehin arba are a total of 2 that are 4? When you look at them, there's actually a total of 8. Let's go. We have 4 cases, and let's see how every case actually has in it 2 yediyas, and therefore, if 4 cases of 2 yediyas, the total is 8. The first case is the person is aware that he is tamei. Then he forgot he was tamei and ate an item of food that was hektish, and then he became aware again that he was tamei. So we have the first yediyah, then we have the helim, and then we have another yediyah. So each case has 2 yediyas and 1 helim. Case number 2, he was aware that he was tamei, forgot he was tamei, and entered the makom hamikdash, and then became aware again. 2 states of awareness. And the same is true by the shehin daled, when he forgot that the place was the makom hamikdash, or that the food was hektish. There was 2 states of awareness, one before and one after. There's a total of 8. Now the Gemara over there answers how we can count a total of 4, although there are 8. We could choose to focus on one group of 4. The first states of awareness before the person did the thing he wasn't supposed to, or the second group. Tosfos now asks, although we can give an answer, but why should we choose yediyas, which creates a problem that can be pushed off if we could just avoid the whole thing by counting the halamis? Answers Tosfos. The Shlemer, we can answer the nokat yediyas kedem mefarish hasam. We could explain that he chose to talk about yediyas the way that I could explain over there in the Gemara in Shavuos. In other words, the answer in Shavuos is not just a good enough answer to push off the question, how could you count 8? If there are 4, I could do it. I could choose to count the first ones, and the Gemara explains over there why, or I could count the second ones. Tosfos here asks, although you can, but why do that? Better count halamas, so don't have any problems. Tosfos answers that the answer that the Gemara gives over there for how we can choose to talk about the first yediyas alone, or just the second group of yediyas alone, is not just a good enough answer to push off the question. It actually makes it a more attractive choice. We actually prefer to talk about one set of yediyas over the halamis. Let's see the answers now that Tosfos brings from the Gemara. Yediyas kamaisa, the first yediyas, the first state of awareness, before the person did the act of eating hektish while he was tamei, or walking to the makom hamikdash when he was tamei. The lesnu b'chal Torah kula, which are not found in the whole Torah, kachashav, those are the ones he counts. But the later group of awarenesses, the isnu b'chal Torah, that are found in the whole Torah, lo kachashav, he doesn't count. In general, or throughout the whole Torah actually, there's no need for a person to be aware beforehand of what's going on. So let's take, for example, Shabbos. If a person does a malach on Shabbos and then realizes he needs to bring a carbon chatas, there's no need for him to have an original awareness of Shabbos. If a person started Shabbos with no idea that it was Shabbos, there was never a point that he had awareness, and then did a malacha, and afterwards became aware, he brings a carbon. There's no need for the first yediyah to be there. So therefore we can say the reason why the Tana chose yediyas as opposed to halames is because by saying yediyas, we're really focusing on something unique that's found by this case, and therefore it's preferable. It's something which is not found anywhere else, and therefore we prefer to count it. Inami, or also, there's another answer in the Gemara there. Yediyas basraisa, the ma'aseh l'dei carbon kachashav. It's the second group of yediyas, which they lead to the chiyuv of the carbon. Those are the ones that he counts. So the second answer is that we're not counting the first set of awarenesses that occurred before the Avera, but rather the second group of awarenesses. And the reason we prefer to count those over the halames is because It's those yediyas that actually lead to the chi of carbon. They are the defining part of the story that leads to the chi of carbon. Now Tosfos continues and addresses a possible question. According to the explanation that we count the first yediyas because they're unique, then one cannot ask, why don't we say yediyas shvuos? Because you need awareness by shvuos in order to bring a carbon, and yediyas Shabbos, you need the awareness there as well to be chayav the carbon. You can't ask that because according to this answer, the answer that Tosfos is focusing on, we're counting the first yediyas by Tumah. Well, we don't have any first yediyas by Shabbos and Shavuos to count. Tosfos continues and explains, according to the other answer, Nami also. This is not a problem. Which other answer? The Ka'amr Yediyas Basraisa, the Maisi de carbon Kachashiv, it's the second group of Yediyas that bring to the carbon, those are the ones that he counts. Says Tosfos, Loitanabuhu Yediyas. He didn't say Yediyas by Shabbos and by Shavuos. And the reason is, because the actual 4 cases are found in the stories themselves. In other words, in Shabbos, there's an actual 4 stories. We have the Ani's Hitzah and his Achnasa, and we have the Asher's Hitzah and his Achnasa. So too by Shavuos, we have I will eat, I won't eat, I ate, and I didn't eat. So we have the actual cases. In such an instance, there's no question that that's what we're going to count, the cases themselves. However, by Tumah, the division of 2 that are 4, is only found through the Yediyah. In other words, by Tumah, we simply don't have 4 cases. We only have 2 cases. It was a tummy person, either ate food that's hektish, or a tummy person that entered the Makom HaMikdash. There's only 2 cases. The reason we end up getting 4 is because the question is, what was he aware of? What did he forget? So there it's appropriate to say, should we count the times of forgetting or the times of awareness? And we could explain that the times of awareness are preferable. The first ones because they're unique to this case. The latter ones, the second set, because they're the ones that bring to a carbon. However, by Shabbos and Shavuos, where we actually have 4 cases, we would never think of counting an external factor what has to do with the person's intent awareness, whether he was aware that something was going on, he got the awareness and now has to bring the carbon. That's an item that we would never think of counting.